Hi there, business owner, and welcome to the 3Bs podcast, the place where we go beyond the numbers and dive into strategies to help you build a better business one step at a time. I'm your host, Stephanie, a multi-award-winning entrepreneur with over a decade of experience in the bookkeeping and accountancy world. If you're a business owner looking to streamline, grow, and get back the time that you deserve, you're in the right place. We're tackling real-world problems, answering tough questions, and digging deep into business-building secrets in just 15 minutes each week. So are you ready to build a better business with confidence and clarity? Then let's go. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the 3Bs podcast, your go-to place for 15 minutes of motivation, education, and inspiration to help you build a better business. If you're new here, hi, I'm Stephanie, a bookkeeper and accountant with over a decade of experience in the financial world, and have been building my own businesses alongside this for almost 5 years. Today's episode is slightly different. It's not a rant or a lecture, and it's definitely not me telling you off, but it is me telling you a few things that your bookkeeper probably wishes that you knew. And if you don't have a bookkeeper yet, consider this a preview, a look behind the curtain of what we wish you knew as a business owner. Because there are some things that make running your business financially smooth, and there are some things that make it feel like herding cats in a thunderstorm, pushing that rock up a hill. Now let's avoid those things and make it as easy for you as possible, because having that data, if you've listened to any episode of the 3Bs podcast, you'll know that data really is the key to helping you build a better business. Point one is your bookkeeper is not a mind reader. I know we seem like it at times, but we cannot guess what that £427 payment was for. We cannot intuitively know whether that transfer was a loan, direct to salary, expense reimbursement, or I just moved money because it looked wrong, or I paid on the wrong card. It happens, we're all human. But as bookkeepers, we're not mind readers, and we can't see that information from a bank statement line on a bank feed. If money leaves your account and there is no description, no receipt, no context, someone has to chase you, and that someone is usually us. The smoother you want your finances to run, the clearer your communication needs to be. What I'm not saying is you need to send a WhatsApp or an email every single time you make a payment. But what you can do is use software such as we use Apron Capture in the practice at ABCS UK, is take a photograph, WhatsApp that receipt when you put fuel in, when you make a purchase, forward the invoice straight away. That makes things easier and quicker when it comes to VAT returns, coming to do your MTD if you're a sole trader once that comes into force in April. Having that information makes our job easier. We don't have to chase you for it. And if you start to build the habit now, it becomes second nature and you don't even have to think about it. If something unusual also happens in your business, tell us. If you've bought a van, tell us. You've changed your payment provider or software provider, tell us. Move banks? We're going to need to know that too. And if you start paying yourself differently, tell us. Surprises are lovely for birthdays. They're less lovely in bookkeeping. Point two, VAT is not a shock, it's a calculation. One of the most common phrases we hear as bookkeepers, I didn't realise it would be that much when the VAT bill comes in. That is really surprising. It is simple maths. If you're VAT registered, 20% of most of your sales do not belong to you. It belongs to HMRC. And if you treat that like available cash, your future self will panic. You will struggle to pay those VAT bills. And I cannot tell you the amount of times I've seen that happen with business owners. A good bookkeeper will tell you roughly where you stand long before the deadline. But it's also your responsibility to have a look into it and be aware of that information. If your turnover increases, your VAT increases. If your margins shrink, your stress increases too. And it's also important to note that yes, you can reclaim some of the VAT on your expenses. Not everything you purchase has VAT. Wages and staff costs, for example, don't have VAT. Your postage in most cases is exempt if you use Royal Mail, different for couriers. But again, if you're a business that quite heavily sells products, your postage is one of your main expenses. If you're a product-based business that sends things out, that expense is not going to reduce your VAT bill. Same with your wages, it's not going to reduce your VAT bill, which means it's not a simple income minus expenses and 20% of that is what you pay VAT. It's the VATable transactions that matter. So ignoring the dashboard does not change the numbers. It's important to know and stay on top of that. Now, a good bookkeeper will say to you, okay, on average, you actually pay 17% of your income by the time all the expenses are taken off that are allowable for VAT. Then you can start putting 17% away instead of 20%. But these things will fluctuate, and we will always say, a good bookkeeper will always tell you to put 20% away, especially for the first quarter when you're working with them, so that they can help calculate that for you. But you know you've got your VAT money saved, plus a little pot that's yours every quarter. Number 3, receipts matter more than you think. And we're going back to that point 1 of we're not mind readers. We don't know what you are spending, and we don't know what those lines are on the bank statement. That coffee might be allowable, that lunch might be allowable, that random Amazon purchase might be allowable. But without a receipt, I can't justify that, and your bookkeeper cannot justify that too. And more importantly, without proper categorization on your accounting software into your balance sheet and profit and loss, you can't see patterns. Expenses are not just about tax savings, they're about decision making too. If you don't know what you're actually spending on software, what you're actually spending on subscriptions, travel or contractors, how can you manage your margin properly? How can you make decisions on that business? Clean data equals confident decisions, and messy data equals guesswork, and guesswork means you are not going to be able to build a better business. If your software increases, as most do on an annual basis, we need to be aware of that. If you're buying things from Amazon that is stationary, that will go in a very different place on your profit and loss and balance sheet in your accounting software than if you're buying stock on Amazon that you're going to resell, or materials on Amazon that you're going to use to turn into a product to sell. 4, late information creates expensive work. Bookkeepers don't mind working hard. We don't even mind working to a short deadline. What makes things difficult is working reactively. If we receive 10 months of backlog 2 weeks before a deadline, that's no longer bookkeeping. That's damage control. And damage control costs more. And I don't mean just as an invoice from your bookkeeper. And it's not because we're being awkward. Urgency compresses time, increases the risk of making errors, and removes the ability for us to think strategically about managing your business. If you want calmer year ends and quarters for VAT, you need consistent information flow. That's why we all talk about putting your bank feeds into your software. So whether you use Xero, QuickBooks, Sage, FreeAgent, any of those accounting softwares, we get you to connect your bank to the bank feed, which means at most we're a day behind. We can see what happened yesterday on the bank statement, which gives us a really clear picture of what your business is doing. Bookkeeping works best little and often. So giving us a pile of receipts in a shoebox once a year isn't going to cut it. And also, once MTD comes in, if you're a sole trader or a landlord, you're going to have those quarterly deadlines anyway. So we can't be waiting to the last minute, because those quarters don't change. With VAT, there's 3 different sets of quarters you can choose from, and we often align them with your year end. So we can have a VAT period that ends in February, we can have a VAT period that ends in March. That means we can spread our clients' work across the year. With MTD, those quarters are set in stone. They're run by a calendar year. Every single sole trader and landlord that is brought into Making Tax Digital will have to submit with the same deadlines you do, which means bookkeepers and accountants have to be more strategic with how and when they do that bookkeeping for you, which is why we need that consistent information flow. Number 5, I talk about it all the time on the podcast. Profit is not your bank balance. You can have money in the bank and still not be profitable. You can be profitable on paper and feel like there's no cash in the bank. Your bookkeeper isn't just recording history. We're helping you understand the story of your business. Now, there's a saying that's thrown around a lot, and that's turnover is vanity, profit is sanity, cash is king. Now, I want to tweak that slightly. Turnover is vanity, profit is sanity, but cash flow is the reality of what's going on in your business. Many times we buy things with 30, 60-day terms. When we send out invoices, we may have terms with our bigger customers. When we ask questions as bookkeepers, we're not trying to be difficult. We're trying to protect you from blind spots and those sticky things that cause you excess stress and panic. Number 6, you don't need to know everything. I don't know everything. But you do need to engage. You don't need to become an accountant or a bookkeeper, and you definitely don't need to love spreadsheets. But you do need to look at them and not bury your head in the sand. A quick monthly review, a basic understanding of revenue versus costs, and a rough idea of upcoming liabilities. As a bookkeeper, I can absolutely go through that with you, but you also need to understand it to a degree to help you with your business, because I'm not there holding your hand every single day. Financial avoidance is so common. But avoidance creates fragility. You're not stable as a business owner. And if you're looking to grow and build a better business, which I presume you are by watching or listening to this podcast, having that engagement with your numbers will create that stability to help you grow. Number 7, I think this one's going to ruffle a few feathers, but boundaries protect both of us. If your bookkeeper asks for information by a certain date, it's not flexible. There's a reason for that. There's a workflow. And when clients respect timelines, everything flows nice and easily, and you get a better service because of it. When deadlines start to drift, work starts to back up, and stacked work increases those mistakes we talked about earlier. Good financial support is a partnership, and we can truly help you build and scale your business sustainably and confidently, and we can make huge impacts in your business. This is not a handover though, it has to be a partnership. Boundaries are something that a lot of business owners struggle with. So scope creep is so common in our industry as bookkeepers and accountants, where a client will ask you to do something extra, provide you an extra set of management reports, give you a list of debtors who owe you money, start chasing that client that hasn't paid. That's scope creep, and you need to be charged for that, and we need to charge for that as bookkeepers and accountants accordingly. It's really important that we have our boundaries in place and we respect them. And the same for you. As a client of ABCS UK, one of the first questions we ask on our new client form is, what is your preferred method of communication? Many people nowadays don't like me to pick up the phone and call them. They want a WhatsApp or a voice note or an email that they can pick up in their own time. Particularly if you've got a business that runs outside of normal working hours, you have caring or parental responsibility. You're not going to want me calling you at 3:30. Because you're in the middle of the school run, and that increases your stress and pressure. And the whole point of having a bookkeeper in your business is to help you and relieve some of that pressure and stress around the financial arm of your business. With number 8, I'm hoping that this sort of fixes any feathers that I've ruffled with number 7. We want you to win. This is so important. Your bookkeeper is not waiting for you to slip up. We're not trying to find holes in your business. We're not judging your spending. We're not secretly horrified by your Amazon history. We want your business to grow, because when your business grows, well, sustainably and profitably, that's a success story for everyone involved. You get to achieve your goals. As your business grows, you're going to need more support, so our business grows too. When we do suggest changes, systems, or tweaks, it's because we can see patterns that you might not. We don't have the emotion that you have in your business. While we still care and we sit in your numbers daily, we don't sit in the delivery daily, which means that we can see things from an outsider's perspective, but with all the information that's inside your business that only you and your bookkeeper know about. Together works better than separately. And I really want you to take from this episode that having a bookkeeper in your business is having an extra cheerleader, having someone to keep you accountable. It's a non-negotiable if you want to grow and scale and build your business. So the real wish, if I could summarize all of this episode of what most bookkeepers wish business owners understand, then it's probably this. Having clean finances reduces stress more than motivation ever will. You can visualize your 6 figures, you can journal your mindset, but if your numbers are unclear, your body will know. Clarity is so underrated. It makes such a huge difference. It is so powerful when building and scaling a business. And your bookkeeper can help you with that 110%. If you already have a brilliant bookkeeper, do send them a thank you message today. I promise you, they're really going to appreciate it. And if you don't and your finances currently feel like a mild guessing game, or you don't feel like you're getting the support you need, it might be time to change. You'll find all the ways to work with us at ABCS UK in the show notes. You can book a free 15-minute discovery call to see if we're the right fit, to see if what you have is what you need, or if you don't know what you need, then we can figure that out together. If this episode helped you to understand the partnership better between bookkeeper and business owner, please do like, follow, rate and review wherever you're listening to it, subscribe on YouTube and hit that notification bell so you know when the next episode goes live. Even better, share this with another business owner who needs to hear it. I'm Stephanie, this is the 3Bs podcast, and I'll see you next week for the next episode. Bye. And that brings us to the end of another episode of the 3Bs podcast. I hope you found it useful and that you're walking away with some motivation, inspiration, or education to help you build a better business. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and of course connect with us on social media for more insights, tips, and behind the scenes content. Your next step in building a better business is just a click away. I can't wait to connect with you, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.